Faust, Part 2. In the twilight of his life, Faust stood at the edge of a world he could no longer fathom. The pact he had forged with Mephistopheles, the devil who promised him boundless experience in exchange for his soul, had brought him fleeting pleasures but no lasting peace. This part of his journey had ended in tragedy. Gretchen, the innocent he loved, was lost to despair and death. Yet Faust's hunger for meaning burned brighter than ever, a flame that neither time nor failure could quench. Now, in the vast tapestry of later life, his quest would lead him through empires, mythical realms, and the very heart of existence itself. Act 1. At the Emperor's court. The sun rose over a crumbling empire, its golden rays masking decay. In the grand palace of the Holy Roman Emperor, courtiers whispered of empty coffers and restless subjects. Faust, now a figure of worldly renown, entered the court at Mephistopheles' side, his dark companion cloaked in charm. The emperor, young and distracted, sought amusements to drown his troubles. Mephistopheles, ever the tempter, proposed a spectacle, a masquerade to dazzle the court and obscure the empire's woes. Faust, playing the role of a sage, conjured visions of mythical splendor, golden apples, radiant nymphs, and the promise of wealth. The courtiers gasped, unaware that Mephistopheles' alchemy fueled the illusion. Behind the scenes, the devil replaced the empire's debts with paper money, a fleeting fix that Faust knew would collapse. Yet he played along, driven by a deeper ambition, to win the emperor's favor and secure a realm of his own. The masquerade unfolded in a whirl of color and music. Faust, masked as Plutus, god of wealth, captivated the court, while Mephistopheles, disguised as avarice, mocked their greed. The emperor, entranced, demanded more miracles. Faust hesitated, sensing the fragility of the charade, but Mephistopheles whispered, "This is but a step toward your true desire, a world shaped by your will." The court's applause drowned Faust's doubts, and he agreed to conjure the shades of Helen of Troy and Paris, the ultimate symbols of beauty and desire. In a blaze of light, the phantoms appeared. Helen's radiance silenced the hall, and Paris, bold and youthful, reached for her. The courtiers swooned, but Faust, struck by Helen's unearthly perfection, felt a pang of longing that transcended the illusion. He stepped forward, defying Mephistopheles' warning, and touched the vision. A thunderclap shook the palace, the shades vanished, and Faust collapsed, his soul ablaze with a new obsession. To possess Helen, not as a shadow, but as a living reality. Act 2. The laboratory and the classical Walpurgis night. Faust awoke in his old study, the musty lair of his youth, now a relic of a forgotten life. Mephistopheles, ever mocking, had brought him here to consult Wagner, a pedantic alchemist and former pupil. Wagner, hunched over bubbling vials, boasted of his latest creation, Homunculus, a synthetic being born of flame and intellect. The tiny creature, a glowing orb of consciousness, floated in its glass prison, yearning for true existence. Homunculus, with a mind sharper than any mortal's, saw Faust's torment. "You seek Helen," it said, its voice a crystalline hum, "but she dwells in the realm of myth, where gods and heroes dance. Follow me to the classical Walpurgis night, where the ancient spirits gather." Mephistopheles scoffed, preferring the vulgar revelry of the northern witches, but Faust, entranced, agreed. The trio, man, devil, and spirit, journeyed to the Pharsalian fields, a timeless plain where the myths of Greece converged. The night was alive with wonders. Nymphs sang by moonlit rivers, centaurs galloped across starlit hills, and gods debated in marble groves. Faust, driven by his vision of Helen, sought her amidst the chaos. He encountered the sphinxes, ancient guardians who mocked his mortal ambition, and the sirens, whose songs tempted him to oblivion. Yet he pressed on, guided by Homunculus' radiant light. Mephistopheles, meanwhile, wandered the revels, seducing Lamii and reveling in debauchery. He had no love for Greece's lofty ideals, preferring the shadows where he held sway. Homunculus, however, sought its own path. Drawn to the sea, it met Galatea, the divine nymph born on a shell. In her presence, Homunculus glimpsed the secret of life itself. "To exist, I must merge with the eternal," it declared. With a cry of joy, it shattered its vial and plunged into the ocean, its essence dissolving into the waves, a sacrifice for true being. Faust's quest led him to the palace of Menelaus, where Helen, newly returned from Troy, reigned in splendor. She was no phantom now, but a living goddess, her beauty a mirror of eternity. Faust, trembling, knelt before her. Chiron, the wise centaur, warned him. To win Helen, you must bridge the mortal and divine. Guided by the seeress Manto, Faust descended to the underworld, vowing to defy fate itself. Act 3. The Court of Helen. In a timeless realm, Faust emerged as a medieval knight, his soul reshaped to meet Helen on her terms. He found her in a Spartan castle, surrounded by her women, radiant yet haunted by the wars fought in her name. Faust, bold and eloquent, declared his love, offering her a new world free from the past. Helen, moved by his passion, hesitated. Her handmaidens, led by the cunning Phorcys, Mephistopheles in disguise, urged her to trust this stranger. Together, Faust and Helen fled to Arcadia, a paradise of eternal spring. There, in a castle of their own making, they lived as lovers, their union giving birth to Euphorion, a winged boy of unearthly beauty. Euphorion, embodying poetry and ambition, soared higher each day, chasing the sun itself. Faust and Helen reveled in their idol, but Mephistopheles, lurking in the shadows, whispered of its fragility. Euphorion, too reckless, climbed a cliff and leaped, seeking to touch the heavens. His wings failed, and he plummeted to his death. Helen, heartbroken, turned to Faust. "Our love was a dream," she said, "and dreams must fade." With a final kiss, she dissolved into mist, returning to the realm of myth. The castle crumbled, and Faust, alone, felt the weight of his loss. Mephistopheles appeared, grinning. "Your Helen is gone, but your pact remains. Seek new heights, or surrender your soul." Act 4. The War and the Mountain. Back in the mortal world, the emperor's empire teetered on the brink of civil war. A rival usurper, backed by dark forces, challenged the throne. Faust, hardened by loss, offered his aid, but not out of loyalty. He sought land, a coastal realm, to build his vision of a perfect society. Mephistopheles, delighted, summoned demonic armies, their grotesque forms cloaked in mist. The battle raged on a blasted plain. Faust, commanding from a hill, watched as Mephistopheles' sorcery turned the tide. The usurper's forces fled, and the emperor, triumphant, granted Faust his prize, a barren shore to shape as he willed. Yet victory tasted hollow. Three ancient figures, want, debt, and care, haunted Faust's dreams, warning of the cost of his ambition. Care, the most insidious, whispered, "You will never rest." Faust, defiant, vowed to conquer even death. Act 5. The Final Striving. Years passed, and Faust, now an old man, stood on his reclaimed land. Dikes and canals tamed the sea, and a thriving city rose, a testament to his will. Yet peace eluded him. Mephistopheles, ever present, mocked his discontent. "You have all you desired," the devil said, "yet you crave more." Faust, gazing at the horizon, dreamed of a world where all could live free, their spirits unbound. His final act was to envision a perfect community, a utopia of harmony. But care returned, blinding him with her breath. In his darkness, Faust heard the clatter of shovels, Mephistopheles' demons digging his grave, disguised as workers building his dream. Undaunted, Faust spoke his last wish, to see his people thrive. "Such a moment," he cried, "I could say, 'Stay, thou art so fair.'" With those words he fell, his soul teetering on the edge of damnation. Mephistopheles laughed, ready to claim his prize. But a chorus of angels descended, their light scattering the demons. They bore Faust's soul aloft, singing of divine mercy. In his relentless striving, Faust had glimpsed the eternal, and God, in his grace, deemed him worthy of salvation. Mephistopheles, outwitted, raged in vain as Faust ascended to the celestial choir, where the eternal feminine, embodied by Gretchen, Helen, and the Virgin Mary, welcomed him into eternity.